You sign the papers in a beige room that smells like recycled air and old coffee. The recruiter does not shake your hand. He slides a folder across the laminate table, and you understand immediately that this is not a ceremony, it is a transaction. Your signature is worth exactly $4,200 a month. Not your judgment, not your history, your signature. 3 days later, you land in a city whose name you are not permitted to write home. The temperature is 107 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 a.m. The tarmac warps the horizon into a slow silver shimmer. You are wearing 60 pounds of kit. Your team lead, a man named Decker who has done 4 rotations and speaks in clipped half sentences, points to a black SUV and says, "That one's yours." He means the driving. He means the dying position, the front seat. The seat that absorbs the first blast from a device buried somewhere in the dust you cannot see. You are nameless here. Your file number is PMC7741. Your team calls you New, which is not a nickname, it is a classification. You are new until you are not, and the only way to stop being new is to survive long enough that someone newer arrives. The compound is a series of prefabricated structures bolted inside a perimeter wall. The wall is 12 feet of reinforced concrete topped with triple-strand concertina wire. The hum of the diesel generators never stops, not at 2 a.m., not at 4. The sound becomes your sleep and your waking. You stop hearing it after 9 days. That is when Decker nods at you once across the chow table, and you understand that this means something small and serious. You are being seen. 14 months pass the way water passes through a pipe, without pause, without scenery. Your first promotion arrives not as a ceremony, but as a new duty roster printout slid under your door at 05:30 on a Tuesday. Team lead, Foxtrot element. The pay becomes $6,800 a month. The danger becomes proportional. You understand this without anyone explaining it to you. You now run 3 men through a city where the streets do not match the maps from 3 years ago because the city has been rebuilt around its own damage. You learn to read windows. You learn to read the angle of a man's shoulders from 200 meters. You learn that the most dangerous moment on any route is the 3rd day, because by then you have begun to feel routine, and routine is the earliest form of blindness. The clients change. A mineral extraction firm, a logistics company whose actual function you are discouraged from researching, a diplomatic subcontractor whose contractors have their own contractors. The hierarchy is a set of nested boxes, and you are inside the smallest one. Each box pays on time. That is the only metric that crosses every layer. Promotions are procedural. Nobody calls you brave. The paperwork simply changes. The risk column adjusts upward. The insurance premium in your contract grows by 6% per annum. By month 22, you have been in 4 countries. By month 30, you have written 7 incident reports. 2 of them describe events that did not happen the way you have written them, because the way they actually happened would have voided the client's liability clause, and the project manager explained this to you with the calm precision of someone reading from a maintenance manual. You rewrote the reports. You told yourself it was the system. You were correct. It was the system. That did not make it smaller. The system arrives. The unspoken rules arrive without a manual. You absorb them from posture, from silence, from the things Decker does not say when the client's representative is in the room. Rule 1, the client's assessment supersedes your own. This is not policy, it is gravity. Rule 2, mission-critical assets means whatever the contract defines as mission-critical, and that definition can change 12 hours before departure without triggering a renegotiation. Rule 3, survivability is your personal liability. The company provides equipment and tasking. The rest is yours to manage. You have now operated for 3 years and 4 months. You earn $9,100 a month plus a $1,200 hazard supplement in designated zones. Designated zones are determined quarterly by a risk committee in a building in a city you have never visited, populated by people who have never smelled a diesel generator at 3 a.m. in a compound at 107 degrees. The creative compliance is something you discover slowly. It means you do not refuse a tasking. You raise an objection, formally, in writing through the correct channel, and then you execute the tasking while the objection is processed. Processing takes between 5 and 32 working days. Taskings are executed immediately. The arithmetic of this system is not accidental. You learn to file the objection and prepare the vehicle simultaneously. You learn to think in 2 registers at once. The register that says, this route has 3 choke points and the client's local contact has not responded in 18 hours. And the register that says, the convoy rolls at 0600. Both registers are true. You have stopped expecting them to resolve each other.
Your sister stops expecting calls on specific days and starts hoping for calls on any day. You do not notice this shift when it happens. You notice it retrospectively during a 40-minute satellite window in month 41, when she says, "I just wasn't sure you'd call," with a flatness in her voice that is not anger. It is adjustment. She has adjusted her model of you to include your absence as a default state. This is an efficient adaptation. You recognize it as such and feel something you do not name because naming it would take more time than the satellite window allows. The men in your element are the closest thing you have to social architecture, but the element rotates. Decker leaves after month 38 with a handshake and no forwarding information. His replacement is a man named Osei, who is competent and correct, and with whom you will never have a conversation that is not operationally necessary. This is not hostility. It is the organizational equivalent of not investing in furniture you will not be moving. You sleep between 6 and 7 hours most nights. You eat what the contract kitchen provides. You exercise for 45 minutes each morning, not for health, but because stillness has become something you do not trust. Movement is the only form of control the environment consistently permits you. By year 4, you have stopped expecting the work to mean something. You have started expecting it to simply continue. That shift is not despair, it is efficiency. And it is also the quietest kind of loss there is. The 9 p.m. hour, in the compound, in the narrow cot in the prefab room, in the generator hum, that is where the erosion is most legible. Not in the field. The field has structure. The 9 p.m. hour has nothing but the accumulated weight of everything the structure is designed to prevent you from noticing. The shattering. The ambush happens on a Tuesday, which is not the day you would have chosen, though you understand that the men on the high ground and in the drainage ditch did not consult your preference. The convoy is 3 vehicles. You are in the second. The front vehicle takes the first detonation at 0741, and for approximately 1.5 seconds, the entire world is a pressure wave and a white absence of sound. Then the small arms open from the eastern ridge and from the culvert to your west simultaneously, and you understand 2 things in rapid sequence. This is a coordinated ambush with prepared positions, and the client's route intelligence, which rated this corridor as Category 2, manageable risk, was not merely wrong. It was the kind of wrong that suggests it was never right. It was the kind of wrong that has a different name. You fight through, because that is the decision the geometry of the situation enforces. There is no cover to the north. The vehicles cannot reverse through the blast debris. Forward is the only direction that does not collapse, so you move forward. You do what you were paid to do. You extract what can be extracted. Later, in the debrief, the client's regional manager says the intelligence was sourced from a partner agency whose reliability rating had recently been downgraded. He says this with the tone of a man reporting a scheduling conflict. He says the operation is considered a partial success because the primary asset was preserved. He does not mention Revis, who is in surgery in Landstuhl. He does not mention the 0741 moment or the Category 2 rating, or the 2.5 hours in a disabled vehicle waiting for a QRF that arrived 40 minutes beyond its stated response window. You sit in that room and you feel the system become completely transparent for the first time, not corrupt in the way that has drama or grievance attached to it,
just transparent. You see exactly what it is. You are a billable unit. The risk was priced. The outcome was within acceptable parameters. The contract will renew. Nothing broke. That is the shattering. Not that it failed, that it worked exactly as designed, and you simply, finally, understood the design, the cycle. You do not quit. Quitting requires a dramatic gesture, and the system has no mechanism for dramatic gestures. You simply stop renewing. Your contract expires on the 14th of March in your 5th year and 4 months of service. The Human Resources Coordinator sends you a templated offboarding email. It thanks you for your contribution to mission continuity. There is a hyperlink for returning your equipment credentials and a separate link for your final pay stub. You fly home on a commercial flight, middle seat. You eat the packaged snack. You watch the person next to you watch a television show on a small screen. At some point over the Atlantic, the cabin lights dim, and you sit in the dark at 38,000 feet, and you are aware, in a way that is both sudden and non-surprising, that you have no framework for what comes next. 5 years of compressed, procedural, structured, billable existence. And now, a middle seat, a bag of pretzels, a city below the clouds that does not know you were gone. 3 weeks after you land, a man named PMC 8204 signs papers in a beige room that smells like recycled air and old coffee. His signature is worth $4,200 a month. The recruiter slides a folder across the laminate table. The recruiter does not shake his hand. Somewhere in a compound that hums with diesel generators, a duty roster prints at 0530 and slides under a door. A convoy that has no name will roll at 0600 into a corridor rated Category 2. The generators will not stop at 2 a.m. The tarmac will warp in the morning heat. The wall will hold its concertina wire in neat, indifferent rows. The system does not notice that you are gone. It was not built to notice. It was built to continue. And it continues. Somewhere, a satellite window opens for 40 minutes. Somewhere, a sister answers and is briefly, quietly surprised.